Hey everybody, got another video here for you. So, I was thinking that the next video in this build series would be a pretty short and straightforward sound demo, but best laid plans. I have made progress. I got the pedal board all fixed. You use butane torch lighter, and you can reheat hot glue and then stick stuff back on it again. So I got all the pedals back on that way, and I added the cab out to the back of the pile unit, and it's plugged into the speaker for the Fender, which is a 12-inch. It's a dinky magnet, but it's definitely better than the 6-inch on this thing. So it's all tuned up, but number one is what's going on is the sevens, they stretch a lot. And so yeah, this is like day 3 probably or something, and every time it's like I'm losing almost a whole note instead of just like half a note kind of a thing. You know, I'm losing 2 semitones worth of tension over a 24-hour period. These strings are stretching that much. So I went to go and get everything set up, and very first thing was both wires on the jack had come off. The solder connections had failed. So I redid that, and then I was tuning it up. I got the first 5 tuned. Number 1 string though, that 7, that thing's really stretching. Maybe it's a little loose up here at the anchor or something, but what I think I'm going to have to do is take my little stretchy tool, for my string stretching tool, and stretch them all, and then loosen it up and undo the anchors and pull them all tight again and tighten them up on the anchors again, and then retune. And so yeah, a little bit more work still involved. Part of what this is the fact that these tuners down here, they've only got, 15, they probably don't even have 20 mil worth of like adjustment distance between I'm all the way up as far as I can go and I'm all the way back as far as I can go. So if they've only got, adjustment range of like about this for how much they can tighten a string, it's really not surprising that I've already had to redo the number 1 string 1 or 2 times. So hopefully stretching everything and then tightening it all back up in the anchors will take care of this and get things to stabilize a bit more. So yeah, that's, like they say, it's not over until the fat lady sings, and it looks like it's going to be a little bit more work until this fat lady here is going to sing for us properly. So here on the bench you can see the remains of where I soldered up the both the positive and the negative terminals on the jack again. And let me get that cleared off and get the guitar over here, and I'll get to stretching some strings. I wouldn't really bother filming this episode necessarily, except there's a couple dozen of you out there who really are following all these builds and all this like cutting edge weirdo stuff that I'm trying to do here. So yeah, this is mostly for your benefit. Also, I'm gonna, let me do that. Let me give you my post-mortem and lessons learned so far. Okay, very first thing, the 7s stretch a lot, and this bridge with the common plate does not have, well, it's got a nice long amount of range for intonation. It's got like 20 mil for that. It doesn't seem to have a whole lot of range for tuning itself. maybe on the order of 10 or 15 mil. I haven't actually measured it. So those two issues are unfortunate in the way they work against each other, you might say. And that's why I'm having to do this messing around with it that I'm about to do now. Other than that, like I said, I had 5 out of 6 correctly in tune, and I did play it a little bit, and I've played, a lot of different kinds of guitars, and the way I approach a guitar is I play it clean, and I see what its natural voicing is, and then I think of what kind of music that natural voicing goes with. And these light 7s, the very first thing that jumped out at me was Happy Trails. And so yeah, I've already played Happy Trails on this thing on just the number 6 string, and it sounds way excellent cowboy. But that's just, clean and not super cranked or anything, no distortion, nothing. So other than that, I'd say that I noticed that in general, the lighter strings changes the volume a little bit, I think, as in like softer. And in this particular case, for this set of zippy slinkies, I believe they call it, Ernie balls, they might, me personally, I might even go a little lighter on the number 3 string, because it's sounding, the rest of them, it has a very balanced tone as far as like the volume of the strings goes. But for at least for 4, 5, 6, it does. But number 3 might be a little strong. At least, I don't know, that seemed to jump out at me. But in general, that means that changing the gauges of strings might have an effect on the volume of that string. So if you're trying to get a more scoop sound, you might try a lighter string at like number 3 and 4 positions. That could be something to check into. And of course, if you're doing that kind of stuff, the very first place that comes to mind is Stringjoy and their string tension calculator, and the ability to order up just about any kind of string you want from them in any quantity you want. Almost, you can buy them like in 1s and 10s and by the dozen and so on. So, but anyway, let me get to work here. Enough rambling. Another piece of feedback, thought on the design. The limited range of these tuners means that's another plus factor in favor of like a tail tuner with a TOM kind of a thing, a string through up here, and a TOM at the bridge, and then running like a 6 in a row tail tuner thing. Now the issue with the 6 in a row though is having it actually fit. It wouldn't work for a classical position unless you raised the guitar up and made the standoff for the leg bar even longer. Right now it puts the center of the guitar like about 100 millimeters above your lap, so to speak. Another thing I notice is the leg bar might not stick out far enough at the bottom end here, but the strap being there kind of like keeps it from falling off your leg. But it might be nice to add a 3 more inches, almost 100 more centimeters, millimeters to the length of the leg bar there. So other than that, I've been debating the the single Teflon tube bar and Richlite fingerboard versus a traditional neck like this that's been carved to trapezoid. And in the end, I suspect that it's going to be a question of, do you want to spend more time and labor to get something that you don't have to mess with a truss rod and has bling value, perhaps, in one's mind. And that's basically what it boils down to. You're talking about, well, let's say you're talking $40 for one of these, and you're talking, I want to say like 60, 70 for the Richlite and the carbon fiber tube, that kind of thing. So it's not that bad, but it is more expensive. Another thing is, I think it's probably going to be more labor than this kind of a neck. It's probably less work to carve one of these than it is to like radius the Richlite and slot it for frets and fret it and glue up the tube. So yeah, for that reason, I'm not automatically jumping on the Richlite and carbon fiber tube bandwagon for all future builds. I'm going to test one probably right now. I've got like a list of like all the things that would be needed in order to really do it right on a for all builds going forward kind of basis. But other than that, let's see. Let's see. The 6-in line has certain advantages, actually a number of advantages to the barrel tuner design. But once again, it seems to have issues with kicking the thing all the way up to the classical position unless you raise the guitar. And other than that, everything seems pretty doable. Channeling the backs for wiring, it's probably not much more work than going around the side like binding for securing wiring. Covering it with covering plate, that's not going to be that big an issue. Installing switches in the body is basically just bling and is going to be more work. So whether that's worth it or not, that depends. Also, if you're getting into like a complex build with twin pickups and full electronics and interchangeable pickups and everything, then you're talking like, 9 switches, something like that, a lot of switches. So putting all those into the body as opposed to just putting them in a control panel would obviously be an awful lot of work. So these are the things that I've been considering and that might be changed on this build. Let me think what else would be changed on this build. Longer leg bar. You could add that 35-degree angle a little bit more this way for when you're seated. There's enough room on the extension bar for the leg bar in order to put another hole in there. So if you wanted a more kicked up kind of a playing style instead of like the 25-degree kind of laid back style that I typically set the seated at, if you wanted a bit more kicked up, there's room to set this to add another hole and make this thing do that. Let's see, what else? Doesn't need a pointy headstock. That's just cosmetic. I've noticed that actually the pointy headstock tends to interfere ever so slightly with hanging it on a rope, but it wouldn't interfere with hanging it on. It makes it so that the rope, you got to hang it. You got to hang it, sticking the guitar through the loop from the back, so that the rope comes across the nut instead of just sticking the guitar through the loop. Because otherwise, the pointy end makes this side try to slip off the shoulder. But if you're just using a regular guitar hanger, then yeah, it's got real shoulders and it'll work just fine. Other than that, this nut, it's kind of blocky and ugly. If I had my druthers, I would have used the other nut, but such is life. And let's see, I can't think of much else. Yeah, I think that about covers it. Let me go ahead and get to work. So, the ball end of the number 1 string has come apart. And yeah, it was unraveling apparently, and that's the reason why the thing never would get up to tension. So I guess I'll try another one. Okay, now it's holding tune. Yeah, it was just that one string was bad apparently, because now I'm getting an A out of it. So that's cool. Yeah, I guess that was the only thing I really needed to do. I'll run through and make sure it's all tuned up, and then I'll go ahead and do a sound demo, I guess. Okay, it's up and running, and right now I got the EQ and stuff on. This pile it's a pile, man. Let me set it all flat again here, and alright, EQ off. Okay, everything's at 12 o'clock. This is double coil. Like I said, really bright and chimey. So here's the... Yeah, it's got a real clean tone to it. But, alright, let's see. Like I said, the pile's really bad. The guitar itself, I think also the 7s make it a bit spanky. Remember how I was saying I thought the number 3 might be a little on the loud side compared to the other ones. And in general, it does sort of sound a little on the thin side, but very clean and pretty. But then again, half of that's the amp. Alright, so let me put the amp more back where I had it, which is bass all the way up, just a little bit of treble, and a lot of volume. fine crank pretty much. And so this is about the best tone you can get out of this pile. It might not be in tune. No, it's in tune. Well, it sounds like a banjo. Then this with the EQ on, which is about the best sound I was able to dial in with the gear I got. And that's as far as I got with playing with it. Let's try a little distortion, some metal. Let me turn the volume down first. See how crazy this is. Use a lot more bass. That's why an off switch is nice. Let me see if I can dial in a better tone. This thing going now? Okay, I think you get the idea. Let's call it a build. Peace out. See you guys in the next one. Okay, I think that's going to do it for this video. So, until the next one, everybody, have a good one.